In fact, we maintain our world with our internal talk, and whenever we finish talking to ourselves about ourselves and our world, the world is always as it should be. Life won't get better on its own. It contains pain and sorrow, fear and hatred, and unfortunately, they are an integral part of life, just like joy and happiness. The world is what it is, and we must accept this fact. But if we do nothing, the world will never change for the better. We must create better times ourselves. So why are we doing so little to make the world a better place? In his books, Castaneda wrote that our minds are captivated by an incessant internal voice, an obsessive internal dialogue that we constantly hear in our heads. This internal dialogue drains all our personal strength and energy, and very often it keeps our attention focused on worries and negative thoughts. This is why we constantly feel exhausted and trapped. And as long as our internal dialogue dictates worst-case scenarios, we cannot change our lives for the better. We cannot change the world when we are filled with anxiety and fear. Our energy is spent fighting them, and therefore we are unable to gain control over our lives. To escape this state and find the path to a better life, we must learn to stop the internal dialogue. Inner silence can restore our strength, allowing us to uncover the secrets of the world. Stopping the internal dialogue allows us to accumulate the necessary energy for real, not imagined, change. Inner silence is the master key to our freedom. In all 12 of his books, Carlos Castaneda wrote about a lost method of profound human transformation, with the goal of releasing hidden reserves of strength and energy within a person that are not tapped into in everyday life. An important part of this method is the practice of stopping internal dialogue. Through constant practice, Carlos Castaneda was ultimately able to stop the uncontrollable flow of thoughts, unlock his energetic potential, improve his life, and become a master of inner silence. Explaining internal dialogue, Castaneda's teacher used the following image. Our mind is like a candle flame. If you blow on the flame, it begins to flicker and lose its original glow. The wind blowing on the flame is the uncontrollable flow of thoughts, followed by uncontrollable desires. If we cover the flame with our hand, the wind will not be able to reach it. Each of us must also learn to protect and shield the mind from obsessive thoughts, maintaining inner silence. By stopping our internal dialogue, we free our minds from the stream of obsessive thoughts, regain lost energy, stop depending on circumstances, and regain control of our lives. But the problem is that we don't know how to protect our minds. As soon as the candle flame flickers, we lose control of what's happening, become victims of circumstances, distracted, and our concentration disappears almost completely. In this state, we can't change anything in our lives. The teachings taught by Castaneda reveal the secret of two ways to stop internal dialogue. The first is contemplative. It allows a person to protect the mind from unnecessary stimulation. This method is effective and helps stop the chaos of thoughts in the moment. It can be practiced by anyone and applied in any situation when the mind loses its peace. However, this method deals with the consequences. To eliminate the causes of internal dialogue, it is necessary to apply the second, deeper method, which disciplines the mind. A disciplined mind protects itself from uncontrollable obsessive thoughts. This method is suitable for those who want to go further and learn to control their mind through intention and deep transformation. Those who watch the video to the very end will learn about this method. Friends, before you begin exploring the secret practices of stopping internal dialogue, pause the video and write in the comments how often you notice the uncontrollable flow of thoughts in your head. After you finish writing, come back to this video, as there's a lot of useful information for self-improvement waiting for you. Stopping the internal dialogue is, however, the key to the sorcerer's world. The first contemplative method allows you to protect your mind from external and internal sources of stimulation. Mastering the contemplative method of stopping internal dialogue lies in combining these two approaches. Protecting yourself from external sources of stimulation requires distancing yourself from destructive forces that threaten your well-being. You must do everything in your power to shield your body and mind from disturbing stimuli that trigger an uncontrollable flow of thoughts. Don't be surprised by the connection between body and thoughts. When you protect your body from negative influences, you reclaim the energy you expended on overcoming problems. You use this accumulated energy and strength to stop internal dialogue. Similarly, the mind must be protected from sources of harmful ideas that lock the consciousness in on themselves and cause addiction and obsession. These can include news channels, political, religious, and entertainment resources, movies, books, and the like. You must remove such sources or remove yourself from them. If you think this is impossible in your situation, then focus on becoming less dependent on the situation. Imagine your body and mind as a garden, surrounded by a strong fence so that no one can enter and trample the flowers or break the fruit-bearing trees. A protected garden gives you a sense of beauty, harmony, and the fragrance of its flowers. You can enrich your life with all of this only if you learn to protect your body and mind. If you're unsure how to protect yourself from harmful influences in your situation, please share it with us in our Telegram community, the link to which we'll leave in the video description. Together, we'll find a solution and a way out. Internal protection of the mind involves eliminating internal irritants that trigger obsessive thoughts. You must learn to protect the mind from itself. This means being able to detach from the world you carry within yourself. This also requires energy and strength. Internal protection requires not only shielding the body and mind from harmful influences, but also learning to strengthen them. A strong body and a trained mind will help you conserve the energy and strength you can use to stop the internal dialogue. The body is strengthened by healthy eating, rest, sleep, and physical activity. The mind is strengthened and trained when, during obsessive thoughts, we focus our attention on a specific object or image. Concentration works best with a candle flame. Contemplating a candle flame allows you to focus, relieves mental overload and anxiety, and is the most stimulating form of relaxation. To understand what it means, imagine a beautiful garden again. For roses and beautiful trees to bloom in your garden, you need to not only protect it from external pests, but also care for it from within. For example, weed and clear paths. Taking good care of everything in your garden will allow you to fully appreciate its splendor. If the garden becomes overgrown with weeds, all its beauty will perish, even if you fenced it and protected it from unwanted visitors. Friends, we've prepared the Phoenix Candle practice for you at the end of this video, which will help you stop your internal dialogue. Practice and share your results in the comments. When freeing yourself from internal dialogue, it's important to feel that you're not alone and that you have companions. Don't worry if you don't notice results right away during the practice. Castaneda noted that inner silence accumulates second by second. There's no rush. First, stop the internal dialogue for a few seconds, then for a little longer, and so on. Castaneda said that each person has their own individual time threshold, which builds up gradually with each new second of inner silence, after which the internal dialogue stops naturally and effortlessly. For Castaneda, this threshold was 15 minutes. After that, he began to perceive the world in an indescribable way. You can do it too, you just need to be patient. And if you want to delve deeper into the practices of Carlos Castaneda, download the magical journal for the practice of not doing, the link to which we have posted in the description of this video. Good luck with your practice, friends. One of the main benefits of the practical method of stopping internal dialogue is developing control over our attention. By controlling our attention, we direct our energy flows toward what is essential for a fulfilling life. The next positive element is regaining control over our lives. By eliminating internal dialogue, we become the only ones who truly influence our lives. We accept responsibility for everything that happens to us. The third positive element is realizing our own potential. By stopping the flow of uncontrolled thoughts, we begin to hear the inner voice of reason and begin to see ourselves and the world from many amazing perspectives. We begin to live in harmony between our inner and outer worlds, transforming our lives from chaos to order and bringing the best of ourselves into the world around us. Of course, when working with new ideas, it is necessary to interact with those for whom such ideas have become part of their lives, but such people may not be around. By the way, for this purpose, we created the Three Suns Closed Club, in which, together with the participants, we touch upon the unknown sides of both the spiritual nature of man and the unsolved mysteries of the world and the cosmos. It is the Three Suns Closed Club that helps to find like-minded people and begin to perceive the world better, clearer, and deeper. In the Closed Club, we publish all necessary information, links to films, books, scientific articles, etc. that will help you to get personal enlightenment. In case you want to join us in the Three Suns Closed Club and learn to perceive new ideas and begin to develop magical thinking that will enrich your life, we will leave a link in the description of the video. Once freed, consciousness can be focused and used in the service of intention or the spirit that governs and gives us life. Now let's talk about the second method for stopping internal dialogue through mental discipline. A disciplined mind will not only allow you to momentarily dismiss obsessive thoughts, but will also make you completely inaccessible to them. Achieving this requires diligent inner work to develop the right mindset, allowing you to see other aspects of life and stop perceiving reality solely in a negative light. To do this, you must first take 3 key steps. The first step is to accept the idea that internal dialogue exists and that it shapes the world you live in. Step 2. Believe that you can stop the internal dialogue whenever you want, and you'll be able to see the world in an indescribable way. Step 3. Learn to act without expecting a reward. Always remember, the path to inner silence is a path of practice and discipline. Therefore, if something doesn't work out for you, don't judge or blame yourself or others. And, having learned your lesson, calmly begin practicing again. To stop the internal dialogue, you need patience, endurance, a strong desire to improve, and a personal decision to achieve silence. In parallel with the 3 steps, it's necessary to master 4 practices of deep transformation and mental discipline. The first of these is the practice of erasing personal history. Erasing personal history doesn't involve lies or conspiracy. This practice means stopping constantly mentioning the past and making it the sole basis for your future. If we rely entirely on the past, when looking to the future, we see nothing new. We see only the familiar. But the world is greater than the experience of our past. The practice of erasing personal history must be strengthened by 3 auxiliary practices for developing mental discipline: getting rid of self-importance, accepting responsibility for one's life, and clearly recognizing that time is limited. Getting rid of self-importance means stopping the feeling of false uniqueness, self-flagellation, and the urge to manipulate anyone. The most important thing in getting rid of self-importance is to renounce complaints and grievances against the world, circumstances, people, and oneself. Strive to find common ground with those around you, and you will succeed. Accepting responsibility for one's life involves understanding and accepting the fact that there is no force in the world that can do anything for us. Likewise, there is no force that can truly harm us. Here we must see that everything in our lives depends solely on the choices we make. The practice of recognizing the limitations of time allows us to understand that we shouldn't cling to things and make them our own, because everything in the world is fluid, changing, and nothing remains the same, just like us. This fact means that we can begin to change at any moment if we strive to live consciously and use every moment to create positive change. We must learn to do everything with complete dedication, honesty, and sincerity, no matter what we do in life. We must always do the best we can. This way, we become effective in the rational use of our energy. We experience no regrets, no complaints, no resentments, because we begin to understand and see that such feelings are a useless investment of energy and effort. We stop getting caught up in an uncontrollable stream of thoughts. With the help of the 4 practices described, anyone can change themselves, their character, and their life. By improving their character, we discipline the mind. A disciplined mind is inaccessible to internal dialogue. This doesn't mean that obsessive thoughts will disappear from our lives completely. Rather, it means that they will cease to control us and we will become free of their influence. In this way, we will be able to see the world more deeply and fully than before.
And now, friends, the promised practice of focusing attention, the Phoenix candle. This practice will help you stop your internal dialogue using a candle flame. To do this, light a candle and sit in a comfortable position opposite it. Straighten your back and relax. Close your eyes. Begin to breathe deeply and slowly, engaging your diaphragm. Focus on inhaling and exhaling. Feel how with each inhalation, energy fills your body, and with each exhalation, your body relaxes. Your mind will gradually begin to calm. After this, mentally tune in to the flame of the lit candle. Imagine that you are this calm, steady flame. Feel how its warmth and silence gently fill you. Then visualize how the living, warm flame begins to slowly descend from the crown of your head. Follow the flame with your attention as it descends. During this, the flow of thoughts slows and subsides. Your inner voice weakens. Feel how patterns, stereotypes, anxieties, resentments, and worries are burned away by the fire. In other words, everything that drains your strength and energy. The fire stops the internal dialogue that describes the world in its usual way. The fire reaches your feet, completely clearing your consciousness. Your entire body is filled with the life-giving light and warmth of the fire. Then the body turns to smoke and evaporates, and you are reborn anew, like a phoenix rising from the ashes. Feel renewed, filled with power, and sense that you are inaccessible to internal dialogue. Remain in this state of inner silence and freedom. When you are ready, open your eyes.
The world is as it is. We find this difficult to accept because we are caught up in uncontrollable thoughts that force us to see everything in a distorted way. And if we feel powerless to change the world, we can stop the internal dialogue. This can be done through the practice of protecting the mind and body, which teaches us to control our attention in the present moment. Developing mental discipline allows us to regain freedom from internal dialogue on a permanent basis. We shouldn't expect better times to arrive one day if we don't change ourselves internally. They will come if we learn to stop the chaotic flow of thoughts and become masters of our lives. After all, we were born to be free and happy. Isn't that right?